Hello everybody and welcome to another list video here at Playing Board Games, but this is no ordinary list video. As a matter of fact, this is our 300th list video. That's absolutely crazy. So to celebrate this, I've chosen the 300 player cards that I think are the strongest in Arkham Horror, the card game. To not go insane while doing this, the first 275 cards are in no specific order, and then we're going to get to the top 25 in order, but I did call the collection down to, I think it was about like 412 when I first finished it. Then I brought my initial list, then I crunched it down to 300, and then I started to crunch that 300 down into smaller bite-sized chunks, which we're going to be seeing here. This was kind of a fun idea to like celebrate the 300th list video. The 300 cards was just to like fit the 300th list video. I wanted to know what I could do to celebrate this because I usually try to celebrate our big milestone lists in some way, and this is a pretty big milestone list. This is all just kind of for fun. It's really, like, if you think about it, just the top 25 cards, because that's when the list is going to get interesting. But I still do have 300 cards here to talk about. There is a chance that I may have missed a card, or in my grouping, put something later or earlier than it should have been. This is something that actually, like, if I made this list next week, some of these cards might have changed orders. But right now in this slice, these are my own opinions of what I think the strongest 300 player cards are. But let's just enjoy this ride and get started by looking at, to start things off, the first 100. So this is the top 300 to 201. I'm not going to dive into these too much, but we're kind of just going to go through them. I'll Take That lets you play things quickly. Where's the Party lets you draw cards and pull out victory enemies. You Handle This One keeps you alive during the Mythos phase. Backstab is a big burst of damage. Bank Chop is a big burst of clues. Black Market is a big burst of card draw. Counter Espionage is some Mythos phase protection. Fake Credentials is a way to get clues and kind of just feel like you're cheating sometimes. Gregory Gry is a good way to passively gain resources. Haste is a good way to passively gain actions. Intel Report is a good way to turn your money into clues. Liquid Courage is a good way of keeping yourself alive. Lone Wolf is a good way to drip clues if you're drip resources if you're a loner. Luger and PO8 is a good way to shoot enemies. Lupara is a great way to shoot enemies. Pilfer is a good way to get some burst clues. Reestrad is a great way to get some cursey burst damage. Savant is a good way to protect you in the Mythos phase. Scout Ahead is a good way to get burst movement. Scrimshaw Charm is a very, very good way of getting a bunch of resources at a cost. Sure Gamble is a good way to... What does that one do again? That one gives you actions? No, Sure Gamble is the... Which one is Sure Gamble again? It's Ace in the Hole and Sure Gamble that I always mix up. Ace in the Hole is the action one. Sure Gamble is the lucky, I think. 3 Aces is a good way to feel like you're breaking the game with Mandy Thompson. Let Me Handle This is a good way to protect your friends in the Mythos phase. Butterfly Swords 5 is a good way to do a bunch of small tests to fish for Elder Signs and just deal damage to enemies. Cleaning Kit 0 is a good way to give your guns more bullets. Dodge is a good way to avoid enemy attacks and change the pace of the game. Dynamite Blast 0 is a good way to blast the hell out of enemies and sometimes investigators. Enchant Weapon is a good way to make your weapons deal more damage or other people's weapons deal more damage. Enchanted Blade 0 is a good level 0 weapon to fight with. Hallowed Mirror 3 is a good way to recur healing in your deck. Holy Spear is a good way to deal damage while being a little bit blessed. Hunter's Mark is a good way to just make enemies a little bit easier to fight and also act as a vicious blow. Inspiring Presence 0 is a good way to heal and heal your allies. Leadership 2 is a good way to protect other people or boost their brain while also giving everybody some resources. It's kind of like a skill stand together. Motivational Speech 0 is a good way for you or your teammates to play allies. Remington Model 1858 is a good way to sling guns and sling shots. Shotgun is a big gun that kills things. Sledgehammer is a big hammer that kills things. Survival Knife 2 allows you to play the game a little bit differently while killing enemies. Take the Initiative lets you have some protection in the Mythos phase. Task Force is a good way to split potential action sequencing among your friends. Wolf Mask is a good way to fight and evade. Okay, I've Got a Plan 0 is a good way to spend your to use your clues for dealing damage. Abigail Foreman lets you do crazy things with books. Ariadne's Twine lets you do crazy things with secrets. Art Student just drops a clue and then dies for you. Blasphemous Covenant is crucial for curse decks. Cryptic Grimoire Guardian Edition lets you turn curse tokens into skipped Mythos phases. Empirical Hypothesis lets you draw cards and do other things with some fun evidence. Encyclopedia 2 lets you Boost other people's skills. Ice Pick 3 picks up damage and clues like nothing else when you're scavenging it. Logical Resource gives you burst healing or removing terrors in play. Map the Area makes everything a little bit easier. Old Book of Lore 0 and 3 let you search your deck for cards that you want or help your allies if you're feeling a little bit less selfish than normal. Scroll of Secrets 0 lets you look at the bottom of your deck and maybe turn it into card draw for you or someone else. Seeking Answers 2 lets you kind of just be a little bit of a baby deduction or in two places at once. Shortcut 2 lets everybody zip around a map. Thorough Inquiry gives a burst cards. Transmogrify can nullify enemies completely. And Wooden Green loves tomes and relics. Astronomical Atlas lets you commit skills on the top of your deck like a pro or just gives you good card draw. Call of the Beyond recharges your spells like nothing else before it has. Diana Esperance lets you play events over and over and over again. Earthly Serenity 4 is some really good healing. Four of Cups boosts up your brain in the tarot slot. Gross Test Statue 4 gives you selection during the tests you're taking. Hallowed Chalice is quietly one of the most efficient healing cards at 3 or 4 players. It's kind of crazy. Ineffable Truth 5 lets you evade really well and also damages enemies in the process. Living Ink can make you into a stat ball machine. Mists of Relia 2 lets you evade and move enemies pretty well. Scroll of Prophecies allows burst card draw at higher player counts. Sin Eater lets you move, doom, and replenish charges and stuff like that. Sixth Sense 0 lets Mystics basic investigate. St. Hubert's Key makes them better at basic investigating with Sixth Sense or just a basic book action. Sword Cane 0 hits enemies down or evades them. Talisman of Protection keeps you alive. Twyla Catherine Price makes your spells last a little bit longer. 18 Derringer 2 is a gun that shoots really well and somehow reloads itself if you miss. A Glimmer of Hope 2 provides protection and discard fodder. Cornered lets you discard Glimmer of Hope to get a little bit better. Fire Extinguisher 3 is a weapon that has a panic button. Flare is a really good kill spell that also kind of can find allies. Improvised Weapon 2 replaces itself, and that's really good. Jury Rig makes your anything a little bit better. Lantern 0 is kind of like the Survivor Magnifying Glass. Live and Learn is lucky, but you have to fail. Lucky is lucky, but you don't have to fail. Mariner's Compass 0 lets you spend resources to get clues. Matchbox is kind of like a mini flashlight for a turn, which is really, really good. Nothing Left to Lose replaces, basically takes you back to the start of the game, giving you cards and resources. Old Key Ring 0 is kind of a crucial piece of the Survivor investigating pie. Perseverance makes you not die. Peter Sylvester 0 makes you not die. Scrounge for Supplies lets you bring back any of these level 0 cards that I've talked about, or any I will talk later on in the list. Spirit of Humanity is a great enabler for both Bless, Curse, Paradoxical, and just for really good for damage effects and healing effects. Track Shoes lets you move and is really good with drawing thin. Unrelenting, Silas loves it, Amanda loves it, Min loves it, most survivors could probably love it too. Fine Clothes, Parlay, probably a little bit problematic, and Flashlight is just Flashlight. Okay. Woo! We're doing it. We're killing it. Do I really have to go to the next 100? That was only the first slide. All right, let's keep this going. The top 200 to 100 cards. I'm Out of Here is a Resign Panic button that also acts as a manual dexterity. Watch This is a good way to get resources actively. All In is a good way to get cards actively. Blur 4 is probably the best evade asset in the game because of the actions it gives you. Breaking and Entering 2 is so much power in one card, and it can return to your hand if you succeed by enough. And you're a rogue, so baby, you're going to succeed by enough. Copycat can do really fun things if the group plays around it together. Delilah O'Rourke boosts 2 stats and can use resources to ping down enemies. Dirty Deed searches your whole deck for a weapon and plays it and fires it. Double Double turns all your events double. You know, toil and trouble. Fox Mask lets you evade and investigate better, helping your breaking and enterings come back to your hand. Friends in Low Places is a customizable search effect, so that is a very powerful thing to do. Leo DeLuca gives you more actions. Manual Dexterity 2 replaces itself and then some. Mauser C962 is a very strong rogue weapon. Nimble lets you move while doing these things that you've been doing anyway, which is very powerful. Quick Thinking gives you more actions. Robert Castaigne 4 No comment. Snitch lets you parlay into clues. Streetwise 3 lets you use resources to bump up very crucial stats. Swift Reload just is basically another copy of your firearms, and the Black Fan turns money into more goodness. I've Had Worse 2 is actually not a damage prevention spell, it's a damage prevention event, it's actually economy. Ace of Swords is a tarot that boosts your fists. Ancestral Token is probably one of the best ways to put blessed tokens into the deck. Beat Cop 2 boosts your fists and also pings down enemies. Brandon Cthulhu 1 is a firearm that only deals damage if you hit, which is really good for a firearm. Breach the Door makes everything easier for a Shroud. Dynamite Blast 3 is Dynamite Blast but quicker. Ever Vigilant 1 is really good with Stick to the Plan. Field Agent is a good way to get clues, especially if you can heal or ready her. Glory is just active card draw. Greta Wagner 3, she's just active clue discovery. Guard Dog 0, he bites back. Hallowed Mirror 0, it's like Hallowed Mirror 3, but it comes in for no experience cost. Machete is problematic when it first came out, then was tabooed, and then it was untabooed, and it's a good way to kill enemies in a level 0 deck. Medical Student is really good healing for her cost. Michael Lee is a really nice thing to build towards, and his potential for soaking and damage is really nice, and not to mention that he also boosts 2 of your stats. On the Hunt 3 is a good way to turn the Mythos phase in your control while also giving you resources, and in some scenarios actually kind of breaking the game. One in the Chamber is always impressive whenever it's played, and it scales with the weapons in your deck. Physical Training 4 is one of the best of these assets. It's a good way to keep yourself safe and takes a little bit of stress on everything else that you're doing. Takes off a little bit of stress on everything else that you're doing. Reliable is a pet card of mine, but if you put it on anything, it just gets better. Safeguard 2 lets you not waste move actions. Cosmic Revelation is insane in 4 players, and it scales down alright, better than I expected. Crack the Case is a good way to actively gain resources. Cryptic Research just draws a bunch of cards, like it's insane. Cryptic Research, is that, no, Cryptic, some of these names are so, you know what, we'll see if Cryptic Research comes on later, but this is insane card draw if this is the one that I think it is. Death 13 boosts your book in the tarot slot. Dream Diary 3 is just unlimited unexpected courages or promise of powers, and that's pretty good. It's also super easy to translate. Grim Memoir draws cards in the hand slot, and it also helps you investigate better. Grizzly Totem 3 turns all your skills into card draw. It turns everything into a perception. That's kind of crazy. Laboratory Assistant is a really good ally that draws cards, and she probably should be played more, and she always should have been played more. Magnifying Glass 1 just easily makes your hand slots, easily fills your hand slots and empties your hand slots while also boosting your book. Mr. Rook can help you find any card you want and lets you draw your weaknesses on command. The Prophesy Profana lets you move around the board and also boost some stats, and also apparently locust means toilet in German or something like that, someone once told me. Ravenous Myconid Carnivorous eats everything. Research Librarian can search your whole deck for a tome, so any of those tomes we've talked about are now in play. Scroll of Seekers 3 looks at the bottom 3 cards of your deck, that's crazy. Segment of Onyx is a really good thing that leads to the Pendant of the Queen, really good tabooed in Mandy back in the day. Steady-Handed is, I'm going to say meta warping right now. Most Seeker decks are playing Steady-Handed because it is just that efficient. Arcane Initiate 0, she helps you find spells, which is really good in Mystic because their card draw is a little bit lacking, and the Doom usually doesn't matter. She's either comes out at Witching Hour or is dead before it actually gets her. Arcane Studies 4 is another one of these talent assets. Mystics like Brain and they like Book. Azure Flame 3 deals damage. Clairvoyance 3 gets clues. Crystal Pendulum, even if you always forget it like me, it's still nice to have that brain boost. The Eye of Gananathoa is a really good brain boost, and being able to see the top card of the Mythos deck can really change the pace in how you play. Ineffable Truth 3 is like Ineffable Truth 5. It deals less damage, it has less of a brain boost, but it's a little bit cheaper, so it's a little bit better. Jewel of Aureolus can be really good economy if you play your turns right. Read the Sign 0, burst clues. What's there to complain about? Read the Rite of Seeking 2, burst clues. What's there to complain about? Rite of Seeking 4, burst clues. What's there to complain about? Ritual Candles is just one of the best cards that does a lot for very little. Chivalry 3, burst damage. What's there to complain about? Sixth Sense 4, hey, I'm in 2 places at once. This doesn't seem fair for something I don't need to spend charges on. You're right, it isn't. Spectral Shield 0. This card is actually been very impressive in the little time that it's been out. It leads to cool combo decks, and I'm very happy to see it in the card pool. Ward of Protection 5, hey, enemy, you're done. Wither 4, it's like 6 cents but worse, but it's in the same kind of chunk that we're putting this one here. Look what I found too. Hey, look what I found is a good survivor card. What if I could do more of it at more places, but it was easier for me to pull off. That's nice. At a Crossroads is really good card draw. Bandages is really good healing. Burn After Reading is very good clue discovery, and if you bring it into the last scenario, it's the right choice, but you're a little bit of a coward. Eucatastrophe? Man, remember when this didn't remove itself from the game? Fire Axe is a good way to turn resources into damage. Hunting Jacket is a good way to turn cards into resources. Jessica Hyde is like Peter Sylvester for damage, and that's really good. Lawrence Carlisle gives you a book boost and gives you economy for discarding cards. He's a linchpin in the investigating discard decks, which is really nice. Madame Lebranche, quietly a very good ally. It's very easy to trigger her abilities and get cards and/or resources. Push to the Limit lets you play cards from your discard pile and then shuffle them back into your deck. It's fair recursion, but still very powerful recursion. Quick Learner is a YouTuber I make content with. Schaffner's Catalog is a very good economy card that helps the whole table. Everyone plays items. Sharp Vision, burst clues. What's there to complain about? Sparrow Mask, it protects you. It's really easy to trigger as well. One of the better masks. I think potentially one of the best mask as well. Stunning Blow, there's a lot of power in this little card. Take Heart is a great economy card for the survivor class. Failing is very easy to do. Will to Survive, this card is the best card that we never play. Winging It is really good discard fodder, and it's very good for clue burst. Charisma gives you more allies. E-Cash 2 is economy that replaces itself. Guts is good. Manual Dexterity is good, but not as good as Guts. Relic Hunter is more economy, and True Awakening is a very fun specialist card to play with. Woo! Okay. We are down to the last 100 cards. I have no water. We are down to the last 100 cards. So you think we're not gonna slow down until we get to the top 25. That's what I promised. So why don't we just keep this going? Now we have our top 100 to 51. Chicago Typewriter is a very big gun in the rogue class. It deals a lot of damage. Dirty Fighting is archetype defining. It's now its own deck. It's very efficient and very powerful with what it can do. Easy Mark is fantastic economy that everyone loves putting in their deck because it makes 3 bad cards come out as opposed to just 1. Elusive was tabooed, and we didn't even know how good it was, and it's still pretty good today. Eon Chart 1, this is a really nice piece to play with, and it just means more actions. Lockpicks 1 gives rogues a lot of versatility and a lot of it combos with a lot of their other cards, which the rogue class is looking to do. See the same for Sleight of Hand, but card is actually been very problematic, and it's probably good that it's rotating out. Switchblade 2, this is a weapon that is unfair in the hands of Tony Morgan and is slightly more fair in the hands of everybody else. 45 Thompson 3, it's a gun that prints money. That's pretty good. Flamethrower, it's a gun that prints mass damage. That's pretty good. Gurish Kadakia keeps everyone alive and also makes unexpected courages rain from the sky, and that is pretty good. 1-2 Punch 5 is probably my favorite event in the entire game. There's just so much damage packed in that one card. Prepared for the Worst in small collection helps you find your weapons, or if you're only playing one weapon, this is a good way to potentially do that. Scene of the Crime, it's clues. It's burst clues. You can't say no to that. Stand Together 0 is economy for 2 people. That's really nice for 1 card. Vicious Blow 0, just more damage. That's great. Ancient Stone Elders, turn your card draw into damage. Antikythera. Is this the damage one? I put the damage one here, right? Not the horror one. The damage one's definitely better. Antikythera. This card's crazy. Antikythera is an insane card. Archaic Glyphs Guiding. This is the one that burst clues. A lot of people might have this higher, but I think you have to build around it a bunch, and it's a great like capstone, and it's in the top 100. So if you want it to be higher, shut the hell up. It's already really damn high. Burning the Midnight Oil is probably one of the best ways for Seekers to get their resources. Chemistry Set, my beloved. You are more than I ever fathomed you could be. Deduction 0. Deduction's good. It gets clues. Deep Knowledge. Hey, you want some burst card draw? Look no further. Eureka? How about card selection? That's also really nice, and it's all active. Occult Lexicon is a good way to turn your cards into damage or economy. Shortcut 0, hey, you move fast, you move fast, you move fast. Let's all move fast. David Renfield, dude loves to print money at the cost of doom, and he usually dies before it matters. Delve too deep, why yes, I would like to sequence my turns in a way that I get XP without any penalty. Deny existence 0, deny existence 5. Protect yourself, and heal yourself. Drawn to the Flame is some burst clues in the Mystic class. Guts 2, it's guts but better. Holy Rosary, I have it higher than Crystal Pendulum because it is just the OG, and they are honestly probably knocking on each other's door, but Brain Protection and Card Draw, very nice in the Mystic class. My wires are crossing. Rod of Carnum goes 2. This card actually feels a little bit unfair. Uncage the Soul 3. Hey, what if I was just another copy of your Brandic Thugga 4? Voice of Ra. This is a really good economy after the Taboo. Almost feels like it's very swingy, but man, when it hits, it hits. Word of Protection 0. It's a classic. Stop the Mythos phase. Look What I Found 0 in the Survivor class. Hey, it's Look What I Found 2, but 0 XP, so it is better. Ancient Covenant. This card probably should be changed in some way. It was really good in Blessed decks. Brute Force, burst damage, what's there to complain about? Contemplative, hey, how about an extra clue? Dig Deep 4. This is probably the best of the talent cycle because those stats matter so much and keep you alive, and it can just be your plan for protection. Granny Orn 3, she helps everybody and gives you some stat boosts. Last Chance 3, this is some really good card draw. It's very, very good at doing that while also helping you pass tests. Long Shot, hey, you know what? Why don't you get a clue while... why don't you deal some extra damage while evading or fighting? That's really nice. Nautical Charts, another card from Drowned City that has been very impressive in the limited time it's been in the collection. And Old Keyring 3, yeah, it's Old Keyring 4 now. Emergency Catch 0, can't hurt a classic. Overpower, Perception, they're very good at what they do. Okay, we are down now. Oopsie, we're not going back. We're going forward to the top 50 to 26. So now we're getting I think these are all very good cards. Like there's no card on this list that has been bad, but now we're starting to hit the major players. And again, these ones are in no specific order, but after this we're going to start going in order and we're going to start talking about the cards individually here. Breaking and Entering 0. It's like Breaking and Entering, just as good, but it's 0 XP, so it's better. Double or Nothing. This card could have been higher, but I think that Double or Nothing was more of a problem because of every other skill around it, and I think other skills make it better, but it's still it was one of the first forbidden cards, and it was one of the only forbidden cards for a long time, so it deserves really high on the list. Eon Chart 4 is just more Eon Chart. Lucky Cigarette Case 0 is really good card draw in the Rogue class. Pickpocketing 2 is really good card draw and economy in the Rogue class. Blessed Blade 4 probably shouldn't exist. Brand of Cthugga 4, it's a gun that's even better that can deal 3 damage, but only if you hit, and that's crazy. Overpower 2, any of these active cards that replace themselves and then some are very good skills. Stand Together 3, it also draws cards. Play it. It's an insane card to play with. Tetsuo Mori, best soak and way to find items in the game. It's crazy. Toe to Toe, just free damage. Yeah, you get attacked, but who cares? It's free damage. Higher Education 3, if this game was competitive, this card would probably be played in every deck that could play it. Knowledge is Power. This card, I don't even know what you can do with it, but I just know it's very powerful. It's been tabooed a few times. Enrapture 2, what were they thinking? Olive McBride 2, she is incredible in the Mystic decks. She just means that you pass tests, and she enables so many other things. Spectral Razor 0 is so much damage packed into one event. The Key of Solomon, this card feels unfair to play with. Word of Protection 2, hey, why don't you protect your friends? Act of Desperation, it's nuts what this card can do at level 0. The new versions of this show how strong Act of Desperation is. Drawing Thin, this card was one of the quickest cards to be tabooed. I don't know how they missed the track shoes interactions. Gift of Nodens, I still think this card's going to get tabooed in some way while it's in current, but it'll probably get untabooed when it leaves current. Shed a Light, what were they thinking at level 0? I can't believe this card shipped at level 0. Insane. Short Supply, this card is very good at enabling scavenging decks, and a lot of survivors play with their discard as an additional hand, so in most survivors, this is a free card to play with. Backpack 2, Searching 12 is insane for items and supplies, and Key of Ys is just super bombastic. It does cost 10 XP though. Alright, we're going to go through the 25 now, and these are in order, and I'm going to talk about them not in a big extent, but a little bit longer than these other ones. So, card 25, we have Practice Makes Perfect, and card 24, we have Lola Santiago. Practice Makes Perfect turns all of your skills into additional copies of those skills, which is very powerful. Skills are balanced around the fact that you can play them once. It's like events. Like assets, you can play multiple times. Events and skills, you can only play once. Anything that lets you double up on events or skills are very powerful. The other one that we've seen on this was Double Double in the Rogue class. But this is a level 0 card that a lot of people can play, so Practice Make Perfect is just inherently stronger. Lola Santiago is an insane rogue investigator. She enables so many things, and she makes things like lockpicks better. And then also she turns their economy into clues, which is really nice. You can also do it during tests, so if you can ever lower the shroud value of your location, Lola Santiago becomes cheaper, and it kind of feels like you're cheating. 23, we have Stick to the Plan, and 22, we have Peter Sylvester 2. Stick to the Plan just provides insane consistency for Guardians. It lets you start with your 3 best tactic and or supply events. They have to be different, but that doesn't matter. It also allows you to make your deck better because your deck is thinner during your mulligan, and the cards that you want you can run as one-ofs and have them in your opening hand. Peter Sylvester 2 boosts 2 of your defensive stats and also has more horror healing for you. This guy is absolutely wild. He kind of just swallowed the ally slot for survivors for the longest time, and I think that if he didn't rotate out, he would continue to swallow it for the future. While there have been good survivor allies, not many have been able to compete with Peter Sylvester. For 21, we have Pathfinder, and for 20, we have Promise of Power. Pathfinder is really good movement tech. The worst action you can take in this game feels like the move action, even though it is like one of the most necessary ones. Being able to just not do it by exhausting this is really nice. As a Seeker, you're also very rarely engaged with enemies because your fighter exists to make it easier for you to win the game, and they do that by taking enemies off of you. I'm glad this is leaving the Seeker class and going into more Rogue stuff in the future because Rogue's becoming the more movement class, and I like the new shift that like the local map has for Seekers and movement instead. And I got something in my eye. Promise of Power probably never should have shipped like this. There was definitely an undervaluing of what... So there was an overvaluing... No, there was an undervaluing of the impact Curse would have. Curse had... No, over. There was an overvaluing... I'll get there eventually. There was an overvaluing of how much impact Curse tokens would have. This one probably could have added 2 Curse tokens, and it still would be played as much as it is today. This is like a nutty freaking card, and it's probably good that it's rotating out in current because Legacy can still have fun with it, but I think it'll be like a healthier spot for Mystics because I kind of just have been taking this as a 2-of in all my decks going forward since it came out. In 19, we have Lucky 3, and in 18, we have Janae Beauregard. Lucky 3 is Lucky on steroids. Lucky 0 is a very nice card to play with, even though it has lost some of its power, but Lucky 3 is a disgusting card. It costing 0 is already a really big boost. It lets you be a little bit more... you can do more of your spending, and you can kind of sequence your resources differently, but the +3 and any investigator, and it replaces itself, is really nice. Janae Beauregard sometimes feels like you're cheating, because it allows you to remove clues from victory locations without investigating, and that's a really good play pattern. She also boosts really good stats for both Seekers and Rogues, and I can't believe she shipped at 3 XP, and Michael McLeish shipped at 5 XP. She's been chained to 5 XP where it feels better, and I think she's less powerful because of that, but I think she still is one of the strongest cards in the game. Perception 2 is our 17th card, and Dr. Milan Christopher is our 16th card. Perception 2 might be higher for me than it is for other people, and a big reason for this is that I prefer my card draw and my economy to be active. It's why I'm such a big fan of like Eureka and Watch This, and Perception is kind of like the apex of this. anything that allows me to draw cards while also getting a clue is going to feel better for me. Doubly so when I don't have to spend resources or an action to do it, right? I can just use perception during an investigation that I am doing, and it replaces itself and draws a card and gets a clue. And I think that's very, very powerful. Dr. Lamont Christopher, what more is there to say? This guy has been eating the Seeker slot, the Seeker Ally slot for a very long time. They have had a pretty good job of designing other Seekers, but a lot of people still fall back on Dr. Lamont Christopher because he is just so efficient. 15, Faustian Bargain, and 14, Pocket Telescope. Faustian Bargain is just the Apex economy card. It's 5 resources for 0 and 2 curse tokens, and those curse tokens never matter. So it's just an easy inclusion and kind of an auto-include. It's a very, very powerful card. Pocket Telescope doesn't actually read that powerful, but I think it breaks so many things that it's something that you need to consider its power level. It probably shouldn't have been printed, and I think that you don't know how strong this card is until you bring it into Innsmouth, Edge of the Earth, I mean, even Drowned City. Like, if you bring it into any sort of campaign where you get punished for having to choose locations or moving into locations, this is just a very disgusting card because of that, and it feels like you're cheating. It's no bueno. In 13, we have Scavenging 0, and at 12, we have Magnifying Glass 0. Scavenging was problematic very quickly after its release. It wasn't immediately problematic, so you can understand why they had this idea of recursion. But like how Tony Morgan changed the environment for rogue weapons, once survivors started to get high book, this kind of became a little bit too good and too easy to trigger. And then items started to discard themselves, which made it even easier. And this card rightfully was tabooed. I wish it was tabooed sooner. Magnifying Glass, I think, is probably one of the best bang for your buck in the game. I put it in all my Mystic decks, and I'm never sad when I draw it. This card is just pure efficiency, and it asks for so little, and it gives you so much. 11 and 10, we have Red Clock 5 and Studious. Red Clock 5, I often say if you get on the first turn of the game, you're going to win the game. It's just that damn good. I think it's an easy, one of the strongest cards in the game. I think it falls off a little bit when you draw it later. Some of these other cards, I think, are better at all points in the game. It's an interesting thing to consider, like the different quadrants of game that can exist in Arkham, and I think Red Clock is at its best when you draw it like in the first quadrant and slowly goes down in value as you draw it later. Studious in the top 10 might be a little bit of a controversial placement for this card, but remember when I was just talking about the quadrants a few seconds ago? Studious lets you build the best starting quadrant that you could ever have. If you get a look at the top 14 cards of your deck during the mulligan, you are going to be able to craft the perfect hand that you want to start the scenario with. And that is incomparable to like almost any other level of power in the game. It also is a permanent. Permanents are just generally stronger, and being able to do that means you're more likely to win the scenario. If your mulligan is good, you are going to win the scenario. If you have absolute control of the mulligan, you're going to have a higher chance of winning the scenario than you already had with the good mulligan for the high chance you had to win. Studious is just crazy. Do not underestimate the ability to craft the perfect mulligan. In card 9, we have Resourceful, and in card 8, we have the Necronomicon 5. Resourceful is... It's not capped, so it can grab any survivor card depending on the level, and it can put it into your hand. This card has proven to be an issue as the card pool has gotten bigger, and while it exists in Legacy, don't be surprised if Resourceful continues to just get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Card probably should have been tabooed in some fashion. I would have preferred it to be like maybe like just level 0 still would have been really good, but it kind of becomes like a brute force machine. Resourceful, very powerful card. Necronomicon, what's there to say that hasn't been said? 5 experience is a lot. Now it's forbidden, so you can't even play it. But card is absolutely nutty in what it was capable of doing. To spend secrets to just burst into play, use sleight of hand, use knowledge as power. find ways to like bounce it back, recur it with the library pass. All these things, crazy card. I agree that with Travis that maybe it shouldn't have been tabooed. Like maybe it needs like they could have done an exhaust instead. But crazy card, easily one of the 10 strongest cards ever printed in the game. In number 7, we have Cyclopean Hammer, and number 6, we have Runic Axe. I'm going to kind of talk about these cards together because I think that these are like the 2 strongest weapons that have ever been produced in Arkham. Cyclopean Hammer, it gets knocked a lot because it's so absurdly overpowered that it kind of becomes boring to play with. It kind of eats up the play pattern for the other players because they kind of just like are watching it. There was this one game day when we were playing the Labyrinths of Lunacy and someone offered another group a Cyclopean Hammer to their fighter, and they took it and they stopped playing with their deck's game plan. It's just that good. Runic Axe, I think, is on par with Cyclopean Hammer, if not a little bit stronger, just because of the versatility that it can build, depending on the how you customize it. I think that it's less easy, like it's like a little bit harder to play than Cyclopean Hammer, but I think that its peak is not a lot higher, but a bit higher than Cyclopean Hammer, so that's why I gave it the edge. In number 5, we have In the Thick of It, and in number 4, we have Scavenging 2. In the Thick of It, it's a problem. It's free experience, and the physical and mental trauma rarely matters, if at all. There are times when you might die because of this card, but if it gave you more experience in the first scenario, it's useful. And also, there are so many ways in Legacy to mitigate this damage and horror on you that this is practically just free XP. I thought this card was going to be played... I thought this card was going to be at its best when it was played in situations where it mattered. And I think ultimately this card was at its best all the time, and it was incorrect to not play it. I now choose to not play In the Thick of It, as opposed to choosing to play In the Thick of It. Scavenging 2 is like Scavenging 0, but it lets you play the items. When this cost 2 XP and not the 4 XP it costs now, this was kind of just insane because it was now also everything that Scavenging was doing, it was also giving you like tempo to play those things and then get the big boosts from that asset again. Absolutely crazy card. In number 3 and number 2, we have Arcane Research and Down the Rabbit Hole. These two, like Cyclopean and Runic Axe, I can talk about together. Anything that helps you get XP for a very minimal cost turns out to be very good in this game. Arcane Research has been very good for a very long time, and then when Down the Rabbit Hole came out an Edge of the Earth, everyone kind of side-eyed it, being like, is this really that strong in comparison? And it turns out, yes, it's stronger, not by like a crazy amount, but this card is so efficient for the XP it gives you. The downside of Down the Rabbit Hole is that it kind of just makes your deck boring, but if you don't care about the fun part of deck building, you just like the winning part, like you build your deck at the start of the campaign and then you just like coast and win, Down the Rabbit Hole is just so damn powerful. And the best thing is that even if you spend some extra XP, you got so much free XP out of it that it's practically free. Down the Rabbit Hole is insane. Arcane Research is insane. These are the 2 incredibly strong cards in Arkham Horror, the card game. But they are not what I think is the strongest card. And people who watch a lot of my Arkham videos probably heard me say this. But I personally think the strongest card in Arkham Horror, the card game, is Lucky Cigarette Case 3. If you get this out at any point in the game, it boosts your odds of winning by probably 50 to 60%. And if your odds were 0, well, I mean, it can't boost it that much, but but this is just insane card selection. Card draw wins card games, and card selection is better than card draw. When you play this, it can give you what you want when you need it, and that should not be overstated. I think that this, like Studious, some players might not see the power of these cards and might think I'm a little bit crazy for putting both of them so high. But having the ability to find what you want or shape your hand what you want or think of the perfect card to get you out of a situation and then being able to find it is incredibly powerful. You can just like basically manifest. You can be like, do you know what would really help right now if I had a breaking and entering, right? Or like, or maybe not, like, but like that's like the example, right? And it help you can find it, right? Like there's a boss enemy that just appeared. They're on your goon. You're like, you can't kill it this turn? Hey, no problem. I'm going to use my lockpicks. I'm going to succeed by 7. I'm going to find a breaking and entering. I'm going to evade and get a clue and exhaust that enemy, right? Like investigate with the breaking and entering. It's very powerful. It helps you find every other powerful card that we just talked about on this list. And if I get this card out, I feel confident that I'm going to cruise my way to victory. It warps a lot of my deck building, and it's personally my strongest player card for Arkham Horror the card game. Oh boy, that was actually really fun. I actually had a good time recording that video, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. And I can't believe that we have done 300 list videos here on the channel. That's absolutely crazy. Will we get another 300? Who knows? That would be a very long time. But, you know, never say never. If you want to support the channel, liking, commenting, subscribing, all that. If you want to see more list videos, you can go join our Patreon, because this is what helps us make these videos to the extent that we do. In the meantime, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one. And as always, a GG's.